Started off as a graffiti gang or a graffiti crew. So a graffiti crew is like a collective of kids writing up a signature. I mean, hitting kids around the head with bricks and stuff at 12 years old, being expelled from school, in and out of court and stuff. Savage weapon, and started hitting other kids around the head with it. It was pure chaos. Everyone started running in different directions. I ran up, heart's absolutely pounding. Oh my God. I look, and Crazy Steve pulls out his weapon. He's laughing in hysterics. There were screws missing, and the screws that remained had bits of human hair in. All of my violent acts were out of fear.
What did you used to carry around with you?
If it came on top, yeah, you would look for the nearest weapon. I'm on a roof in Malden, heavily intoxicated, meat cleaver on my waistband for protection.
So you're carrying a meat cleaver?
Yeah, either way, I'm going to kill someone, I'm going to be killed, or I'm going to get a life sentence, yeah? I fully deserved being chopped with a meat cleaver, and I fully deserved getting 4.5 years in prison.
I want to go back to your best mate Joe. How did he die?
Joe was found in suspicious circumstances, yeah? He was found dead behind a parade of shops because he's very sensitive to the family, still to this day, 24 years, you know.
Justin, welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me, Dodge.
Yeah, looking forward to this, mate.
Good, same.
Let's roll the way back. How did you end up becoming a South London gang leader?
Well, I became a gang leader. It started off as a graffiti gang or a graffiti crew. So a graffiti crew is like a collective of kids writing up a signature. So I became friends with a kid called Joe Smith. His tag was Bath. We met at a local train station. I noticed ink stains on his hands, paint stains on his clothes, and I knew that he must do graffiti. It's the telltale signs. So I went up to him, I said, "What do you write?" And he said, "Bath." And then I said, my tag's 706. And when you're a kid, say I'm about 14 years old, he's about 16, writing your tag on the wall is basically saying to the world, look at me, someone noticed me. Like lack of attention and affection you're getting at home. So when you ask another graffiti tagger, what do you write? And then you say your tag, you're literally scanning his face to see, like, does he recognize you? You know, does he know your tag? Are you writing your tag around enough? So me and Joe became friends. My tag was the number 706. And we started writing the graffiti crew, WZ, which stood for Warriors spelled with a Z on the end. Around the London borough of Merton. That was our graffiti crew. Now, we're not in school, and the more we wrote WZ around the London borough of Merton, and the more it was getting noticed, other kids that were from dysfunctional families or expelled from school or just running out of school started to notice and started to join us. So there starts to... other kids start to join WZ. So now it's gone from me and Joe to probably 5-6 of us. We're all spraying our tags around town. WZ's getting sprayed everywhere. Then one day we get onto a bus in South London, and buses back then, we're talking late 90s, were absolutely covered in graffiti. Yeah,
the red buses were everywhere.
Yeah. They didn't clean them like they do today. So get onto the bus. Most buses had our tags on. Get onto the bus, absolutely battered. I see my tag 706 says WZ. And there's a line through it. Now, writing a line through someone's tag, that's like the form of disrespect. So that's sort of like fighting talk. I'm 14 years old, not a fighter, right? Next to it, it said, stop writing WZ, you packy, right? All my friends start laughing because I've been called a packy. Now, I'm feeling this shame and embarrassment about my race and about the bullying that I went through in my earlier years, with my mum being mixed English and Anglo-Indian and my dad being mixed Sri Lankan and Burmese. But I was just raised by my mum's side, and I always saw my mum as a white lady. My nan's white, all my cousins white, English name. I thought I was them until I thought I was white as a kid, until another kid punched me in the nose, popped my nose and called me a packy. So I'm ashamed that this other graffiti crew on the bus have lined my tag out, and my friends that I'm seeing as like my brothers and family are laughing at me. I'm not a fighter, but I put a line back through the other gangs or graffiti crews name, and their name was the initials WK. They were unhappy that we're spraying WZ around the London Borough of Merton and Sutton, and they're from the Royal Borough of Kingston, they're from Cambridge Estate, and WK stood for Who Cares or Wanted Criminals. Now, they didn't like that our initials was similar, like the W, and it was two letters. So I've lined it back. My friends are all laughing. I'm just basically showing off. Never had a fight in my life. We're hanging around the streets of Malden, outside the station. A crew called Shadow Crew come along one day. Group of hardened street kids. I knew them. I must have been in fear of them, because when they're talking about they're after WK, I start trying to impress them. Talking about, I know where they hang around in New Malden, want to go down there. Never had a fight in my life, just a few little fisticuffs as a little kid. Anyway, 14 years old, shouting my mouth off, trying to impress this other gang, Shadow Crew. I would say I feared, and that's why I'm showing off, right? I never thought that a fight was being talked about in the background, and come Friday, 35 kids, about 4:30, 35 kids are coming to Malden to hear about this crazy kid, me. My street name was Sevens at the time, short for 706, that this fight was actually going to escalate and this kid Seven's going to go and get WK. Right, so 4:30, there's these kids turning up in their school uniform. You got Shadow Crew there, you got kids from local estates, and I must have been feeling very overwhelmed, like, oh my God, a fight's going to I was petrified, right? And as WZ was being sprayed up and more tough kids were joining, there was a kid called Crazy Steve. He was about 12 years old, yeah. He had grown up in a violent household. His dad, being a violent alcoholic, abused him physically as a child, and he was showing all the telltale signs of like a psychopath. He was extremely violent. I mean, hitting kids around the head with bricks and stuff at 12 years old, being expelled from school, in and out of court and stuff. Now, the dad's heard about the fight and has built his son a weapon, which was half a broomstick shaved down into a point. The other end had screws and a Stanley knife blade coming out of it. Now, it's 4:30. I'm already overwhelmed, and now Crazy Steve and his dad comes along. His dad's basically waving him off while we're all jumping on the 93 bus going towards North Cheam to head down to New Malden. I must have been thinking, I hope, like they're not going to be there, or the 213 bus doesn't stop, because buses were just seeing all these kids and just going. But eventually we're on the 213, we're going towards New Malden 100 miles an hour. Get down the side of New Malden Alley. It's overgrown, it's fly tipped waste and crap everywhere, and then I'm still must have been thinking, I'm scared about being punched in the face, basically. And we walk down this alley, and I'm hoping WK are not going to be there. And got all these kids behind me, and then we come to a parting in a bush, and there's about 6 or 7 WK members sitting there, and I knew some of them from doing graffiti, and they was all smoking on a bong, so they're all stoned, and there's all these kids there. They must have been absolutely petrified. And one of them said to me, "No, Sevens, no, I'm your friend." And one of Shadow Crew shouted, "Set it, Sevens, set it." And as a 14-year-old, you don't have any assertive skills. You're just in the moment. And I looked to the floor and I saw a piece of concrete, and I picked up the concrete and I started to hit the other kid around the head with it. And then all hell broke loose. Crazy Steve brought out his savage weapon and started hitting other kids around the head with it. And the Shadow Crew pulled out knives, started stabbing WK boys. And it was pure chaos. Everyone started running in different directions. I ran up, which I didn't realise it was the embankment, jumped over the big fence, landed on New Malden platform. Train pulls up going towards Waterloo. I jump onto the train. I hear a thump next to me. I look, it's Crazy Steve. We're on the train. The train's going towards Wimbledon now. Heart's absolutely pounding. Oh my God, I've just smacked a boy's head in with a piece of concrete. I look, and Crazy Steve pulls out his weapon. He's laughing in hysterics. And there were screws missing, and the screws that remained had bits of human flesh and hair in. And we jumped off at Wimbledon. We got back to Malden. After about an hour and a half, all of WZ and Shadow Crew are back in Malden. And the strange thing that happened 14 years old, and I've got these bigger kids, 16, 17, 18, they're coming up to me, they're patting me on the back, they're spudding me, they're shaking my hand, and they're going, yes, Sevens. And they believed that I had set that whole thing up, that I was this crazy kid that had organised this savage fight. And then that was a day that I went from like this vulnerable bully child into a leader of WZ, which was originally a graffiti crew, and then it turned into like a graffiti gang / really violent street gang. Yeah, that's how it started.
Why did you want to take it to the next level?
With
the violence,
that for me, all of my violent acts were out of fear. If I could be the most violent kid in Malden, in the London borough of Merton, in the London borough of Sutton, then I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting that inner child. That's what it is. You're protecting, your inner child, because I'm a awkward, vulnerable little boy that's had a horrific childhood, like early childhood, which at that age you don't know it, you're just in it. So to protect that inner child is to become the most violent person I could be, and eventually the most violent young man, one of the most violent young men in the community. Yeah.
What was it that you wanted to take it to the next level though, with that other lot from the Cambridge estate, by the way, in Kingston's a tough estate. What made you go, right, it's us versus them? What sort of levels did it get to?
Well, I think to take it to the next level, that was pure peer pressure when I picked up that piece of concrete. And then that mindset just swept over our gang, that you had to be the craziest kid to not be bullied and stay up in the pecking order, and then just be more and more violent. So you're using more and more weapons. And then they retaliated. They tried to retaliate. We wasn't there at the time, but then there were times they did get me, because my cousin lived in Malden Manor, which was sort of in between Worcester Park and New Malden. And he was part of WZ. So I always had to watch my back as a child. As a man now, I think I'm not going to go there, but I think I'll just test my luck, mate. And and WK got me a couple of times around Malden Manor. Got me on the floor, spray paint come rolling out my pocket or my bag, and they're beating me around the head with a spray can. Or one time I had taken some ecstasy. We was in Sutton, me and my cousin Tony, and we only had enough money to get a cab to just past Worcester Park. Yeah, so we got dropped off there, and we looked up at up the embankment of this railway bridge, and WK were all up there. It's about 2 a.m. And it was like, I was just like handed to them on a plate, man. They absolutely kicked my head in. But it was just literally tit for tat, do you know what I mean? I deserved what was coming back to me. It was just back and forth.
What was the end game here, though? For you're there going, right, I want to tag everything up. Were you going into their manor? Were you going to Kingston and tagging everything around there and putting lines through their stuff? Was it like, I'm going into your manor to take the mickey out of you? Or are you waiting for them to come into your manor to put a line through yours?
It was, so we didn't just write in our own manners, yeah? So it'd be like, we're writing in London Borough of Merton, but we're also getting on the London Underground. We're going deeper into South London, or we're on the London Railway on a train track. Yeah. But you got more respect for painting the London Underground. And then back then it was the rusty old Northern Line tubes. And you had the tube depot on our doorstep. And when you sprayed those old tubes, you use certain paint like Plastico barbecue black, and it would stain the tube. So we're spraying WZ. It's going all the way up to the other end of the Northern Line, where kids up there, like say Mill Hill and Edgware, where it comes out again, and they were doing the same. So WZ was getting recognised up in North London. So like going into Kingston, it was very touchy. One time we tried to go onto the estate, bad move, because you've got all these olders, tough men that have seen these group of graffiti kids. They probably don't even know them as graffiti kids. They're just kids that they've seen grow up around. They say, we tried to go onto the estate, soon got completely overwhelmed. We're running back literally towards New Malden, go past the pub on the left-hand side, and I don't know if someone had called them and said WZ's coming that way, but other geezers were coming out, and then we're in the back of someone's garden, and there's men that they're running down the road, just estate men, and they're ripping off, like for sale signs. They're chasing us with for sale signs. We're all hiding in the back of this garden. It's dark. Lady's at the window and she's shouting like, "What are you doing in my garden?" And I was always sort of a voice of reasoning in sort of extreme situations sometimes, right? And my friends, they either wanted to give it to the woman, F off, or run. And then I just said like we're in like danger. We've got a lot of men outside. Just look, we won't destroy your garden, won't do anything. She said, as long as you don't do anything, you can hide there. And that was it. We got away with that one. But yeah, well, a few of us.
So when you tell me about when it goes from kids playing, fighting, 14, 15, 16, when do you get into proper adulthood? How long has this gone on for? Like when because you listen, at 14, 15, you're ballsy. 16, 17, you become even more ballsy. 18, 19, you become even more ballsy as it goes on. And you probably get even more violent. You get your hands on different weapons. You can pay for different stuff. Where was it? What age was it when it really got to a point when this is getting way too dangerous?
I came out of Feltham Young Offenders. I was 15 years old. I'd robbed a kid on a train with a saw.
A saw?
Yeah, a saw.
What, like
a saw. Yeah. Which was... graffiti taggers would get onto the trains, and we saw the trains as like we knew everything about the trains. We'd get into the back driver's cabin, break in, steal the detonators, and then put them along the tracks, and we'd break into the emergency cabin, steal the first aid boxes, go restaurant to restaurant, selling them for 10, 15 quid to get some hot food. And I knew there was a saw in there. The other WZ boys had robbed someone day before, had to keep the status up. So then I ripped open the emergency cabin and found a saw in there. Robbed a kid with a saw. And
what'd you rob him?
Robbed him for gold on his wrist and around his neck. I went up to him when I was with my friend Joe and Nemza, and I said, give me a effing jewelry. This was on the platform, and he told me where to go. But in that young state of mind at 14, I was thinking, what? Like, why isn't he scared of me? Like all my kids in my gang, they're all scared of me, or they see I'm like this big man. Like what? I couldn't get my head around it at that weird, with that age. And then that's when I got onto the train and done that to try to keep my status up. And then I've brought obviously Joe and my mate Dean Nemza into the robbery, which they didn't want to be involved with. We run off down the railway track, thrown the saw, we're arrested, we're going to Feltham Young Offenders. Well, they waited till I was 15 years old. I got sentenced to only 4 months at Kingston Crown Court. And and then we was going to Feltham, and I was just this little boy. My mum's put me in a shirt and tie, and I didn't realise I'm going to stand out like a sore thumb once you go into that prison van. And I mean, there's proper kids, like tracksuits, like banging in the door. They want to terrorise you. And then I get to Feltham. And Feltham was a horrible place back then. We're talking 99, 26 years ago. And I get put into this holding room, and I'm looking at these other kids, 3 Asian boys in there, got long greasy hair, hands in their trousers, screw face, and not looking at me, but I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, what, like, my brain can't take how there's these Asian kids that look tough. Because if you was in my community or you grew up around Sutton, and you had Asian in you was Asian, you was a weak packet. And shopkeepers were terrorised. NF and that was sprayed on the wall, and you're getting punched in your face. I just couldn't get my head around it. So Feltham Young Offenders there's about 22 units, and they're all named after birds. Yeah. You've got the A side, 15 to 17-year-olds, and the B side, 18 to 21-year-olds. So I go on to the A side, and I go on to Heron Unit, and was bullied, terrorised from the off, and made to sing out the window. So back then in Feltham, if you was made to sing out of the window, sing a nursery rhyme, you was a Fraggle. If you refused to sing it, you can refuse to sing it, come out your cell in the morning and fight who's ever's trying. But I was a weak kid. So I'm singing out the window, ridiculed, thinking that's going to stay with me forever. My friend next door was going, no, Justin. I get moved to the Fraggle Unit. Yeah. Now, the Fraggle Unit was a unit for vulnerable kids, bullied kids, which was on Bitten Unit. But nowadays, in Feltham Young Offenders, do a lot of work in there. It's a unit for kids with neurodiverse issues. So from Feltham, I want to get to adulthood. Yeah. When was the point when this went to a whole new level? Okay, so I come out of Feltham Young Offenders. Yeah, I'm on the street. I'm I'm seen as like this hero around town because I've been to Feltham, even though I was bullied, right? So now I've got a girlfriend. Now, you know, I'm just deeper into this life where WZ spiraling completely out of control. Crazy Steve's in his house. We're hanging around in his house. He's worshipping the devil, doing all this weird satanic stuff. The walls have got blood, sick, graffiti all over. There's kids self-harming in there. It's a very dark and extreme environment. And the level of WZ, the darkness and the violence where two of the members got life sentences, it was creeping in. It wasn't like fun anymore. So my friend Stitch, he stabbed a kid in, I won't say what area it was, in southwest London, killed the kid. He got a life sentence. Now,
how old was he?
He was 16. Yeah, he was 16. And then I had this girlfriend.
What did you used to carry around with you?
Back then, I wasn't really carrying a weapon. It was if it came on top, yeah, if you're walking and then it's like, shit, there's WK, shit, there's this crew, that crew, there's Mitchum boys, there's this and that, you would look for the nearest weapon. And that would usually be, I'll tip a bin over, I hear a pinging on the floor, look, glass bottle, smash the bottle, that's my weapon. And that's how you protect yourself. One New Year's Eve, me and Joe, we're in his house.
Joe's your best mate?
Joe's my best mate, yeah. We're in his house, we're drinking. He starts punching a mirror, breaks the mirror, his hand's bleeding. And then he gets a razor and we look at each other like blood brothers, yeah. So I get the razor and I'm like, do you dare me? Cut my arm. He's cut his arm. We're covered in blood, yeah. Just going mental in his house thinking it's absolutely hilarious, yeah. Head's covered in blood. Knock on the door opens. And it's a WZ boy and he's like, what the fuck? Like, he's shitting himself. So we're like, oh my God. He runs off. We're like, okay, we look fucking crazy now. Yeah. Okay, let's go onto the streets like this. Yeah, so we're on the streets New Year's Eve. Get onto a bus, see some shadow crew there. Like, what the fuck? Speak to my cousin Tony. He's with Kenneth. Kenneth's just come out of a young offenders for just done some time for serious like GBH Section 18 or an attempted murder. Done a bit of time. He's a tough kid. Tough kids were coming out and just hanging around with WZ. He's a bit older. They tell me they're in a pub in South London. We're getting served. They're only 16, 17. Go to this pub. We're covered in blood. And the landlord says to us, look, boys, like, you need to clean up, yeah, or we're not serving you. So we're in the toilets, we're cleaning up. And then we come out and Kenneth and my cousin are being dragged out of the pub by locals. They had gone into the kitchen, got the eggs, and they're egging people. And then we're getting dragged out into the street and we're hanging around and there's this man staring at me from across the road. I'm staring him back, horrible drunk and always just in trouble and shit. And law of attraction, mate, if you've got that dark energy, it's coming back for you, yeah? So this man comes over and he's like, what are you looking at? And he pulls out a knife. Now, Kenneth, quick, hits him, takes the knife. We start running off. We're going to meet up at this party, right? We don't even realise we're so drunk. Midnight's past. We're into the new year. Tony and Kenneth have gone one way. Me and Joe have gone another way. We get to where this party is. We're walking down this road. And then there's a girl, Danielle, who, my ex-girlfriend, who pretended she was pregnant by me, yeah? So I had to go hospital, everything. And she had, sat there in the scan, but realised, the baby wasn't mine at 15 years old, right? So anyway, we weren't on good terms. She's having an argument with these men, and these men come charging out of the house and start hitting Joe, hitting my friends, thinking we were with her. We all run off. We're all back together now. So there's me, Joe, Kenneth, Tony, and then Danielle and her friend. Now, Joe's having a go at Danielle, you got me bottled, blah, blah, blah. I'm splitting it up, being the peacemaker. I take Danielle and her friend, I say, let's go. My mates are going the other way. This is at Rose Hill. And we get up towards St. Hilary Hospital. We're sitting there, absolutely paralytic, tired. And I see a car swerving down the road and it pulls up. And it's Danielle's mum. And she goes, get into the car, Justin, get into the car, Danielle, we're going to get him, I'm like, what are you going on about? I'm going to get my mates. Like, brought your daughter away from the situation. They've jumped in the car, they've drove off. I'm just sitting in hospital. Same hospital where I found out that the kid weren't mine. And then get a phone call 2 2 minutes later, screaming down the phone, my mum's been stabbed, my mum's been stabbed. I start running back down to Rose Hill. Get to Rose Hill, Danielle's mum's laying on the floor. Everyone's around her. She jumped out the car to try to attack my friends, and Kenneth has pulled out the knife from earlier on in the evening and stabbed her in the stomach, and then they've disappeared. They've all ran off. That was when it got really, really serious. Yeah.
What age were you?
I think I was 16 years old.
Mm-hmm. How long did this go on for? Have you ever been banged up?
Yeah.
How old were you when you got banged up?
17, I got remanded, and I was going to get 4.5 years in prison.
So from 12 to 13 to 14, this is all escalating, isn't it? 15,
yeah.
16, 17. You know, you're like, at that age, you're going, right, the more violent I am, the more street cred I'm going to get, the more fear I'm going to get. But deep down, you're a little boy with fear.
Yeah.
Projecting fear on other people.
Yeah.
Why did you get banged up at 17?
I was in Feltham Young Offenders just after Danielle's mum got stabbed for a robbery. I was on remand. I was phoning Joe's home. So I wanted to speak to my boys. Like, they're my family. Malden's my home. Want to know what's going out on the streets. Going on. And one day I phoned Joe's phone. Different voice answers the phone. I know straight away something's up. And I'm told that Joe was found dead in Malden, behind a parade of shops where he used to hang around. 16, 17 years old. And then I'm put into a strip cell. My mum's phoned up the prison and said she's found out after me. Said, you know, she's worried about me. So put me in a strip cell. A strip cell's when they take all your stuff off of your clothes and they put you in an unrippable gown. You can't harm yourself. And I'm there just laying there scratching R.I.P. Bath into the wall, just disturbed and, you know, shocked and don't know what's going through my head. And then I'm released from prison. I go back into my community. I can't understand why my friends aren't mourning. I'm sleeping where Joe died, behind this parade of shops. And I'm just, my mental health is deteriorating. When it's deteriorating, you don't realise it yourself. You're in it, yeah. So crying, just all this stuff, yeah, erratic, yeah. And I'm sleeping there. Then I'm climbing up on the roof, which is that looks over sort of Malden Station. And I've just started becoming even more violent, yeah. So my gang's not around me, and I've got boys from like Croydon, Brixton, Streatham. They're after me. I keep like going to like under 18s club nights, and there's other gangs here, and I'm just like putting it on them. Yeah, I'm just being really violent, putting it on. So they're all coming after me. Yeah, he's from Malden. So then people would phone me on my 5110 or 5210. I'm on the roof in Malden, heavily intoxicated, meat cleaver on my waistband for protection, and they say Croydon boys have just got off the bus. They're looking for
you. So you're carrying a meat cleaver?
Yeah, I'm carrying a meat cleaver. Yeah, because I'm on my own.
How big's a meat cleaver?
Meat cleaver's like that, slots into the waistband, handle there. So if kids would come for me, a group of kids, I'm on my own, it would be more scary if I produced a meat cleaver rather than a knife. Yeah. So they're coming for me. I'm looking over the roof in Malden, and I'm literally seeing the boys come off. They're looking for me. They're going under me now, and then they're going round, looking behind the parades of shop to where like Joe died, and I can't take it anymore. The pressure of everything. I'm looking there. My friends there, looking there. Got Croydon boys after me. I've gone to...
This sounds like proper headache.
It is.
Like just listening to it,
yeah.
I'm like, this sounds like headache.
It is a headache.
Like bringing this on yourself to become more violent, giving you more headache, more stress, more your best mate's died, you've got geezers after you, you're carrying a cleaver, you're 17, 18 years old. Yeah. You're like a little lost soldier who's being super violent to protect yourself.
But that's what it is. And that's why most men are out there giving it the big I am, because deep down they're just scared.
Have you ever used that meat cleaver on anyone?
Yeah. So I got onto a London Underground tube with a younger WZ member. I said, like, I've had a fucking enough. Let's just get on. Let's just go mad. But British Transport Police knew me anyway. So it's like, either way, I'm going to kill someone, I'm going to be killed, or I'm going to get a life sentence, yeah? So I'm on CCTV. We get onto the London Underground. Malden, last stop on the Northern Line or first stop on the Northern Line, people would fall asleep. They're meant to get off at Clapham and end up at Malden, drunk from being out in Central. Missed their stop. Tube started to head towards South Wimbledon. There's a man sitting there. My mate starts going through his pockets, He wakes up, sees me standing there with a meat cleaver and jumps up and cuts his chin on the meat cleaver just as the doors are open at South Wimbledon. He jumps off, he runs off. Now, any normal person wouldn't be doing that anyway, but any person with half a sense would think, oh my fuck, I've just cut an innocent person with this meat cleaver. I'm still on the tube. A man comes down the carriage, doors shut now, going towards Collier's Wood. Man comes down the carriage, he's obviously seen what's happened, and he goes to me, and he's grabbed my arms, don't know where my friend's gone, and we're like wrestling. I'm some skinny little kid, and I've fallen onto the floor of the tube. Now we're rocking, and I'm looking side to side. I'm seeing fucking flashing lights of the tunnel. Everything's just rolling through my mind. I look up at him, and I'm just like, fucking take it. And he gets the meat cleaver, but my mate's reappeared and is trying to get him off me. Now the man's got the meat cleaver. I jump up, and I run down a tube, and then I stop in the corner, and the man, I didn't know he was chopping me until I saw like a fresh white bone coming out of my thumb. And then...
So he's got the cleaver.
He's
putting it on you now.
Yeah.
And who is this geezer?
Just
a random
guy that's seen me.
Seen you. Yeah. He's thinking, how dares that kid go and do that to a random? I'm going to have him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair play to him.
Yeah.
Looking back, like when I look back as an adult now, and I saw that, fair play to the geezer coming over and try to wrestle with you and nick the cleaver off you.
Well, I've always said I got chopped 4 times. I fully deserved being chopped with a meat cleaver, and I fully deserved getting 4.5 years in prison because of the shit that I went through in my childhood and my trauma and my mental health. That gave me no excuse or no reason to go and hurt other people and innocent people, because trauma attracts trauma. If you're a traumatized individual, you might attract other fucking people that want to bully you and terrorize you.
Addicts.
Or you're going to violence attracts violence. Horrible, sick world.
Yeah.
And I went to the hospital. I was arrested. I got 4.5 years in prison for that. I was put onto the healthcare unit because I was mentally unwell in H&P Highdown, and I was put into a suicide watch cell, and I'm the only young offender on this unit, because there was a young offender unit in the prison which had just opened from the overflow from Feltham, but there wasn't a separate healthcare, so they didn't know what to do. They hadn't planned for it. So now I'm there. I'm a young offender that's on a healthcare unit with adults and 2 Cat A's. So I'm in a high security prison in a suicide watch cell, which was a gate. It was a gated cell, so they can take it in shifts to watch you. And that was held for vulnerable prisoners that were like risk of suicide, mentally unwell, or higher profile prisoners that they didn't want to commit suicide whilst they were on remand waiting for trial. So there was a guy that was all over the news. He had done a run to America. He had chopped his best friend up, battered him to death in the house in Basingstoke, chopped his best friend up, chopped his head off, thrown his head into the next door neighbour's garden, cooked his arm in the oven, and he had done a run to America. He was caught in America, extradited to England, put into Highdown, comes walking down the corridor, put into the cell next to me. So at 18 years old, I'm being held next to this guy, and where I've still got this mentality of I've got to be the sickest, craziest kid, I'm phoning home like, yeah, my new mate, Richard Markham. Couldn't understand it at the time. Couldn't understand that I was in danger as well. And I was self-harming. I was kicking off. I was trying to get sectioned. And then this prisoner come this prisoner come for accumulated visits. High security prisoner, adult, reputation within the prison system. It was Bath's, Joe's dad. I never knew what was going on in the background. And
Noel Razor Smith.
Yeah. And
he was very well respected.
Yeah. And he was come to the prison, and the prison knew there was a link between us. I'd never met him before, and it was actually Joe's birthday, and they thought it would be good to take me up to the chapel on Joe's birthday to meet Razor, because he's a man and I'm a kid, and for him to sort of help me. So I walked into the chapel. I see Razor sitting there, and on Joe's birthday, we sat in the chapel together in Highdown, and then he started to come down to the gated cell regularly to have, sort of like look after me, mentor me whilst he was in the prison. And I was like, look, Razor, this is my mate Richard, and he couldn't believe it. I was being held next to him. But I moved to HMP Wood Hill in Milton Keynes onto the young offender unit, and then I received a letter. And I opened up the letter and it had a blue slip inside, and it said, this male has been thoroughly checked by the staff at Broadmoor, and Richard Markham had been sent to Broadmoor for attacking someone on the healthcare unit back in Highdown, throwing boiling water over him and that. Yeah.
I want to go back to your best mate, Joe.
Yep.
How did he die?
Joe was found in suspicious circumstances, yeah. He was found dead behind a parade of shops. Because he's very sensitive to the family, still to this day, 24 years, has passed, still very sensitive. I've never been able to say exactly how he died, but in reality, at the coroner's court, it was left as a open verdict. Like, there was things, that had happened that they didn't know, it was basically a suspicious death is what I'm saying. So also someone handed an anonymous letter into Malden police station saying a local family that we had beef with had killed Joe, but it was never investigated. So to this day we don't know what happened to Joe.
What's your suspicion?
I don't know. It's an uncomfortable, yeah, very uncomfortable thinking about it.
I had his dad on the podcast.
Yep.
And he doesn't know.
Yeah. No one knows. It's left as open verdict, so.
What a horrible feeling for the dad not knowing.
Yeah.
But then again, it might be a nice feeling not knowing, because maybe if you actually found out and you knew, you don't.
Yeah. And
you could do nothing because he was in Nick himself. You couldn't do anything. That's a difficult one, isn't it?
Which he eventually changed Razor's life.
That's right.
Where he had to look at his life.
Razor spent 35 years in prison.
Yeah.
That was the moment when he said, I'm not coming out and I'm not going to be the most prolific, Great Britain's most prolific bank robber. I'm not going to do anything. He just went clean as soon as he came out. What did that do to you when you knew that your best mate had been killed?
Well, we don't know if he was killed. We don't know what happened to him. So, but you can see from me, my mental crisis breakdown of just going, doing something absolutely horrendous on a tube to die or, to get lifed off. Because when I was eventually, went through in hospital for a few days, Wimbledon magistrates, off to Highdown, and then I was sitting in that cell and everything felt calm. Everything felt calm. I was away from Malden, I was away from Joe's death, I was away from gangs after me, but the real mental illness and that was to come. So, yeah.
How long did you do that for and a half?
3 years. Yeah, 3 years.
How old were you when you came out?
I came out 21, extremely unwell. Really, really disturbed. Horrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Give an example of how disturbed. Were you using drugs in prison?
No.
Nothing?
No, not really. In the young offenders.
No, okay.
Nah, not young.
So when you come out at 21, how disturbed were you? Were you angry?
I was very, very. I know it's mad because I've been violent anyway, but I was like uncontrollably violent. But it was because I had undiagnosed PTSD because of what had happened to me after, like, moving from HMP Wood Hill to HMYY Aylesbury in Buckinghamshire, which was a young offenders that housed 18 to 21-year-olds serving 4 years to life. Brutal fucking place, mate. Yeah. Horrendous.
What was it called?
HMYY Aylesbury in Buckinghamshire. So if you was 18 to 21-year-old, you're the 4 years to life. So there was lifers from all around the country, all the sadistic cases you see at that era. Like everyone was in for murder. Like that's your friends. Like my friend Nathan, Sri Lankan boy, the Met Police, like Operation Trident, they had a Tamil task force where it was to crack down on Tamil killings in the capital, and him and
Tamils,
Sri Lankan,
right.
Like I don't know the exact right words, but in Sri Lanka you have Tamils and you have Sinhalese.
Okay.
And in London there's a big Tamil community, like Tooting and then up in Wembley and that.
Yeah.
So Tamil murder. So Nathan and his friends had killed another kid. I don't know if the other kid was Tamil or Sinhalese, but they killed him and then they burnt his body in a park. Fergus Tracy was one of my friends. He had killed a homeless man in the park in East London. He was a serious self-harmer. He would, like, the self-harm in prison in young offenders is horrendous. He cut his arm, and he was calling me because I was a cleaner, opened up his flap, and he was pulling his ligaments, waving at me. I heard that he committed suicide in Belmarsh. There was a kid that I was next to in the punishment unit called Dano Sonics. He was in for robbing a Chinese takeaway. Yeah. And he got out of prison and ended up killing 2 foreign exchange students in a house in southeast London. I mean, stabbing them like 100 odd times and burning the property down.
I don't even like listening to this.
It is.
Do you know that? Yeah. I'm listening now. I don't even like listening to all of this.
This is the reality.
I get it. I totally get it. And I understand that. But actually, me listening to this now, I'm thinking, this is bonkers. And I know all this goes on, but but hearing it from you who's been around it to actually go, this does happen. You know, what message are you trying to give here to young offenders and young kids at the moment who were in your situation, where they're caught up with fear and they're getting more and more violent? Because there's a lot of violence on the streets, and I'm seeing it's getting worse as well. Yeah. What message have you got for someone who's been here and got the T-shirt?
Well, my message is that trauma starts in your early childhood. Yeah. So I had like multiple fucking brutal things happen to me when I was a child. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be physical or sexual abuse. It can also be neglect from your parents. A parent liking you, then not liking you. Attachment issues. That's going to build a really fucked up character. Yeah. So my message is that it starts in your early childhood, yeah? My book, The Lost Boys, is studied within criminology degrees. Was it early head trauma?
This one here,
yeah.
The Lost Boys.
Yeah, it was turned to set text by Professor David Wilson in Birmingham City Uni to be studied within criminology. Then it spread through universities. Yeah. So that's my message, that it starts in your early childhood. But then my message, because I lecture in prisons, lived experience lecturing up and down the country, and that a lot of these men, they're just like, they're
kids in adults out in adults' clothes.
Yes. Yeah. So I get invited up to H&P Home House in Stockton-on-Tees. I'm thinking, fucking hell, like mixed race South London, are these Northerns going to think like, mate, well, I got up and I told my story. Early childhood trauma, all the bullshit, all the madness that happens, the pattern. And then I talk about all the therapies that I use to turn my life around. But when you're talking, I can read the room, right? I can see men, full-grown men. It doesn't matter where you're from, Southern or Northern or white, black, whatever. Childhood trauma is the same, yeah? You see them fucking shrinking in their seats, going, you can see their fat. And afterwards, you know it's real because they come up to you. They might not put their hand up to ask questions, but they come up to you, have a word with you privately and say, that's my fucking childhood. Yeah. And the whole idea is to plant a seed, yeah? If, like, show the pattern of behaviour escalating, plant a seed, and then fill them with the therapies that I used, and then all the successes I've had so they
break
can
free from that trauma.
So they can go away and to their cell and they can think about.
It's funny, isn't it? The amount of people we've done 350 odd episodes in and for covering all sorts of topics. Yeah. Whether you're a bank robber, whether you're a criminal, whether you're an entrepreneur or sportsman, it all comes that every violent person who's been on this podcast has all had trauma as a kid. Yeah. In the cover up of fear. Yeah.
Well, they reckon so there's been multiple...
They're protecting themselves. Yeah. As an adult, they're protecting themselves. That inner child that has not been dealt with as a 6-year-old, 3-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old hasn't been dealt with, is carrying through for them to be the most craziest person on the streets. Like you're saying there. But I'm finding this, I'm trying to think here now. I'm like, God, you would have had trauma as a kid, as a young kid. Is there one trauma that sticks out in your mind, just one, as a kid when growing up?
Well, there's two that are very close to each other. So at 3 years old, I was left in a garden. My stepdad owned a large Doberman dog, and there's a family gathering, parents and stuff are drinking, doing whatever, I don't know. I'm 3 years old, I'm a toddler, going to the garden to retrieve my ball, and the Doberman dog just grabs me around the head and's dragging me around the garden and goes bottom jaw scar there, top jaw across my head, tooth mark by my eye. Parents get the dog off me. I'm rushed to St Helena Hospital, head's all stitched up. No tests are done on my brain for a brain traumatic injury, but multiple studies show about 70% of the young offenders in the UK have had serious head injury as a child. Some up to 40% have lost consciousness through that head injury. Yeah, and that can lead on to ADHD and other things, violent outbursts in your teenage years, early 20s. There's been studies done on murderers that have been released, brain scans, that part of the brain. So after that, I started to bang my head to get to sleep. 3 years old, laying in bed, banging my head on the pillow repetitively. As I'm waking up in the morning, banging my head, coming around. Yeah. That's called a rhythmic movement disorder. That can come from that's a child sleeping disorder. It can come from head injury. That wasn't picked up. Yeah. At 5 years old, I'm being left at a childminder's on the Ben Hill estate in Sutton. I'm in a room downstairs. The childminder's son comes downstairs. I'm with another kid. I'm 5 years old. The other kid's about 5. He pulls out fishing wire. He starts to strangle the other child. I'm watching this kid being strangled, abused, and then he comes over to me, starts strangling me. I'm crying, I'm sweating in fear, and he's going back and forth strangling us. We're both crying. I don't think he was crying, actually. I remember that stood out to me because I thought I was weaker because I was crying. Now, at 5 years old, I must have been thinking my mum's going to come collect me, save me. I don't know. What do you think as a 5-year-old, right? Mum comes, don't know what said. The very next day, I'm back in that care. The physical abuse stops, but the childminder starts to get involved. They start to lock me on the balcony. Now, everything that leads to a mental crisis is all to do with memories and how things happen and played out. So
as a kid then, you've gone through that. You've gone through going you've come out of Nick at 21. What are you doing when you come out of prison at 21?
Well, I've had a serious mental breakdown in prison where I've tried to kill myself because I've been attacked by a guy that's in prison that just randomly attacked me, headbutted me. I've fallen on the floor, go back to my cell, he gets taken to the punishment block, and I start to ruminate, oh my God, why does that guy attack me? Oh my God, why has this happened? Why is that happen? Someone said to me, do you know what that guy's in prison for? I said, no. He said, murder and attempted murder. He had beaten 2 kids unconscious, him and his group of friends, beaten 2 kids, skateboarders, unconscious on a bridge similar to London Bridge, 40 foot high, thrown them off of the bridge. One of them died, never regained consciousness, drowned. The other one woke up floating past Big Ben. His rucksack was holding him up. So I'm in my cell now. I'm thinking, fuck me, this kid's just attacked me for no reason. He's got nothing to do. He's going to come back and kill me. I'm serving the food up. He walks around the corner after 2-3 weeks and he's staring at me with his eyes, just staring at me in the eyes, right? Thinking, fuck me, he's going to kill me. For a year and a half, I had to watch my back from him on the prison unit, thinking he's going to kill me. And that level of fear and ruminating where I can't stop thinking about it. People are talking, turn my TV down and they talking about me out the window. And I basically had a mental crisis where an OCD kicked in, an obsessive compulsive disorder, which would have started in my early childhood as well, because I remember other things. Hiding my packed lunch from my mum. The kid saw one magpie. I was the one magpie, it's bad luck, salute. And I'm doing all these things thinking they're all real. When I'm in that moment, I'm having that mental crisis. I'm walking around going, tapping something 5 times, doing this, cleaning this, had a mental crisis. And then one day I'm locked in this cell and I see the kid's name scratched onto the back of the door. And I'm like, he's been in this cell, we slept in this bed, and I start sleeping on the floor. I don't know, there's meetings going on about me in the background about, possibly calling a psychiatrist out to take a look at me and section me. And I barricaded myself in the cell, set on fire, seriously self-harmed. And somehow I survived, and somehow I was released back into the street with that mentality. I couldn't handle being around my own family. I'm in my bedroom and there's this thin little door, wooden door, normal bedroom door. Mate, that was like a piece of paper to me. Anyone can come through there and kill me. And I couldn't go past my family. So I was going to Sainsbury's, buying 5-litre bottles of water, emptying them and pissing in them to avoid going to the toilet. So I couldn't walk past my family. But when you're mentally unwell, you don't realise it. So eventually it kicks off with my family. And back then, he's mad, he's mental. That's it. You're fucking mad, you're mental. But if someone looked at me in the eyes for too long, it would take me straight back to that killer, and it was fucking attack. It was fight or flight. And that's how my life's. Then it was like I gave up. I can't get a job. I can't do that. I can't be around normal people. I'm going to just be a criminal. And that was my mind.
So what did you do when you come out of prison then? To be a criminal? What criminality did you do when you come out of prison?
Well, I'm not going to talk about anything that I wasn't ever convicted for. But I just was known as a very violent man in my community. And when you're in that world, it's a dark world. It's just a horrible place.
Were you involved in drugs? Were you involved in robbing? Were you involved?
Robbing.
So it was robbing.
Yeah.
Robbing houses, robbing banks, robbing. What was your world?
It would the world would be, I've got to move. You would have a phone, your phone network of just criminals. It's a different world, isn't it? You're in that world. Sevens is game. Sevs, I've got to move. This person's got this amount of money. They're going to be blah blah blah, and that was the world. And
or robbing drug dealers.
Robbing money. It didn't matter.
From where though? Give me an example.
But
I need to know. Like, were you robbing houses? Were you robbing banks? Were you robbing drug dealers? What were you robbing?
But I'm not going to say, because that's incriminating myself. I'm only here to talk about stuff that is in my book or I've been convicted for. That'd be stupid for me to say. Yeah, and
I want to know what you're robbing. Cars.
Yeah. Robbing anything, mate. When you're
I want to know robbing people, robbing cars, robbing banks, robbing what?
Yeah, let's just say robbing people then.
Robbing people, okay.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going in with banks with shooters or anything like that, or
I think that sort of game was like dead and buried by then.
CCTV came right on top, didn't it?
Yeah.
So what? So you've gone out of there. When was the point when you turned your life around? Then, how old are you today?
41.
41. So you come out at 21. How many more years were you still at it? When you go, I've got to stop this game because one, I'm doing my own editing.
Yep.
Two, I'm probably going nuts inside. You're probably going nuts. Your own stuff going on in your own mind.
Yeah.
When was it when you actually stopped?
Well, I had a young daughter and I'm doing crime.
Yeah.
Right? Thinking, it don't matter if I go to prison for a couple of years. She's never going to know. I got into an altercation outside a nightclub in Sutton, got into a bad fight, smashed a bottle, cut to innocent people, thinking it was the crowd that was attacking me. I was concussed. I thought I was going to go back to prison. Thought, fuck me, that nightmare of OCD, all that shit. Someone goes, why don't you go to therapy? I was like, what do I want to go to fucking therapy for? Went to therapy, sat down in front of this therapist. She was like, let's go back to your early childhood. I was like, what the fuck do I want to go back to the early childhood? I'm worried about going back to prison because all this paranoia and that's going to come, this OCD and that. We need to go back to your early childhood. We spoke about the incident that happened to me at childminder, and the fear that I had for that childminder was the fear that I had for when this racist bully punched me in the nose at 9 years old, called me a packy for the first time. That level of fear and terror was always in my chest, right? And it escalated to WK. And then eventually when I was at my most vulnerable in prison, after my friend had died and a real killer attacked me, then I had the mental crisis because all memories are linked. So I was like, she was like, that's child abuse. I was like, no, it's not. See, that's child abuse. That's neglect on your mum's behalf. Fuck me, like that. Don't talk about my mum like that. Do you know what I'm saying? At that age, at that time, I was 23, I think. I couldn't that was like a clog in my brain. I couldn't handle it, yeah. But I left therapy. I didn't go to prison in the end, right? I left therapy thinking I'm healed. Always wanted to write a book. Razor was an inspiration to me. He wrote A Few Kind Words and a Loaded Gun. It became a bestseller from behind bars. So I wrote The Lost Boys, A Dark Side of Graffiti. I was sending it to Razor whilst he was in prison, still serving his life sentence. He was going, this is fucking brilliant. Like, keep going. I've written in my own voice, right? Get a publishing deal. Waterside Press, criminal justice publisher. Now, I think I'm healed. I'm 23 years old. I'm 23 or 24. I think I'm healed. You don't heal from that level of mental illness. And yeah. So I think I'm healed. I've got a like timeline of events and can see things that escalated. Yeah. So I carried on. My life was going like, I would get invited to do talks by my publisher to say the Greenwich University was one. 2 days before I'd pull out. I was always pulling out. So I couldn't, handle being around people. I was like, make myself ill before going there. Right. Years went on. And I kept on having these like relapses. I was sleeping with an axe next to my bed, lived in a flat in Tooting, and I had got a closing, like folding security gate behind my door. You had to get through like 3 doors and then a closing security gate, but still, I'm in danger. That was my mind, right? PTSD. Someone stared at me for too long, going to kill me. I saw the 127 bus driving through Tooting because it was a 127 and that prisoner that attacked me, his cell number was 217, fucking the same numbers, oh my God, and I'm just acting like agitated and like my family's like, what the fuck's wrong with him? You're mad, you're mental. It's PTSD. I started looking at my symptoms online, right? come up with something called CPT, complex PTSD, yeah? And complex PTSD is not the same as PTSD. It's like multiple traumas through early childhood, physical, sexual, neglect, yeah? And if you're not protected as a child, you're more likely to be going through or attract like more like vulnerable situations. And I looked at the symptoms like that is me all over, yeah. And then how can I cure this? Can you really cure it? I found a therapy called EMDR, which stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing. It's about how we process memory. So when we go to sleep, we have something called REM, rapid eye movement, and that is when our eyes are moving slightly side to side. We might have weird dreams or nightmares, things we've seen throughout the day. So through EMDR therapy, being with a trained EMDR therapist, go into that place, prisoner walking around the corner staring at me with those eyes, what do you feel? Absolute fucking terror up my chest. Oh my God. Level 10, you go there, feel it, really fucking feel it. And then the therapist will start moving a finger side to side while you've got headphones on with bilateral beats going doot, doot, doot. Or with complex PTSD, you do a protocol called EMDR 2.0. So standard EMDR could be like tapping or standard eye movements. But EMDR 2.0, you're walking out to the right, walking out to the left. Your therapist could be doing things all different directions, scrambling your brain while you feel that memory. And eventually your brain processes, because when you go through trauma, it gets stored in the amygdala and it doesn't process, and you actually relive what you was feeling at that time. So can you imagine these kids in Feltham young offenders, other young offenders institutions, being bullied by their stepdad, and a big officer comes along and they're reacting a certain way, being locked in the balcony by the childminder, then I'm being locked in that cell and I'm kicking off and I'm trapped and I'm going fucking mental.
How long, what age were you when this all stopped?
This was...
like today, you're 41.
Yeah.
Even just listening to this is hard.
Yeah.
Like, I dread to think what you've gone through.
Yeah.
You know, because you're explaining it like within an hour period here, but your daily torture in your own mind must have been brutal.
Yeah, that's the joys of having ADHD and a serious head injury as a child.
Yeah. So like at 41 today, what year was it when you actually set yourself free and life was just calm?
2019, I started to do EMDR therapy.
So how old were you then?
So maths, 41, yeah.
So, so it took you to 35 just to get at peace?
No, not at peace. Are
you at peace today?
Nah, you'll never be at peace. You can't be. I refuse to be medicated. Don't want to be medicated. My ADHD, when I'm on point, it's a superpower. I can multitask fucking 15 jobs at the same time. Yeah. So that's a superpower. But then the other side of it is ruminating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking my brain's like that, a washing machine.
Yeah.
And then you hyper focus on something.
I hear you, mate. I get it.
Yeah, but for the prison population, if you've got ADHD and you're a fucking kid, and you're sitting in that cell 23 hours a day and you can't fucking move.
Yeah.
No, mate.
Mate, I get the whole thing, mate. Yeah.
So I started EMDR then, but lockdown come in, didn't it? So I done it on and off for about 3.5 years.
Are you happy today?
This is how I explain it. I got Sainsbury's a 10-minute walk from me. Yeah, my mood can fucking go 10 different. I can go to 10 different moods on that walk to Sainsbury's and back. Yeah, when I'm working, I work in prisons. Yeah, when I work in the prison environment, I love it. I'm happy.
Homed in, you're locked in. It's something you do. Yeah, I hear you.
Happiest. I have a mural company.
Yeah.
And a lived experience speaking company.
Yeah.
I've site visited 53 prisons across the UK.
Helping other prisoners.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. And that's when I'm at my happiest, when I'm on the motorway and I'm up and down the UK like a madman, going from Durham to Stockton-on-Tees down to Doncaster, over to Birmingham, back there. And that's what I love it. My brain is working, but it's finding that.
So when your brain, when you stop.
Yeah.
And have calmness.
There isn't.
No, for example, like even now, this has been like a full-on episode.
Yeah.
And I understand your mind.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
When you're just at calmness, like even now, let's just give a bit of peace right now.
Yeah.
A bit of calmness, both of us, like just calm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just silence is a nice thing, man.
There's no silence in my...
They're not at all.
I fucking wake up in the night singing songs, remembering this thing, that thing. But I come up with the best... Yeah, I come up with
best ideas.
Best ideas.
That's full on ADHD, isn't it? Yeah. But you mix ADHD with a violent mind, with trauma. That's a combination. Yeah. Those three, right?
But what happens is my ADHD is 100 times worse now. Yeah, because once you've processed that, because these symptoms overlap. Yeah, so once you process with a solid EMDR therapist, mine was a consultant for the NHS. Knows her stuff. When we processed all of that, then it's like, boom, the ADHD is here and it ain't fucking going, yeah? And it is 100 miles an hour. Sensory processing disorder as well. I can hear fucking sounds that my family can't hear. Light, smells, like, yeah, everything, mate. It's can be an absolute nightmare. But
it could also be an absolute superpower.
It is a superpower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If used correctly.
Yeah, if used correctly, yeah. Yeah. But yeah,
let's just have some more peace. Let's have some more peace.
Yeah, I can't lock off. Yeah, I have to have blacked out room to go sleep, white noise, melatonin a lot, and I'm still up singing in the night. But it is what it is. I'm not going to be dumbed down and medicated. No. Yeah. Yeah, the silence is making me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know. I'm just having to go.
Yeah.
Just interested.
Yeah.
Come see how quick your mind is back on it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What's the nicest thing in the day that can happen to you?
My little boy, 5 years old, running through the door, jumping into my arms, and my little girl as well. But my little boy is just like, it's the inner child, isn't it? Giving him the love and everything, and that's the best thing. Or my two English bulldogs as well.
What are they called?
Rolo and Ranger.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're just dopey, silly, stupid. And
what do you do? What do you do to relax?
I don't think I do relax. I go on holiday, I can't relax. Yeah, can't relax.
Do you feel relaxed now?
No,
right.
Because you asked me to stay in silence.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is, that silence isn't a nice thing for you? Because for me, silence brings a kind of calmness.
Yeah.
And I quite enjoy that. I got I run 3 businesses. I'm juggling loads and loads of stuff. I've got new guests coming in. I've got a festival, all this stuff going on. But actually, when I'm the same as you, like my mind is like full on.
Yeah.
But I'm also very good at being at peace and calmness. And actually, I can just lay on the sofa and just go, and breathe.
Yeah.
Or just go for a walk by myself.
Yeah.
And just try to switch off. It's hard. It's really hard. Is there ever a route you go to try to silence the mind?
No.
Right.
I don't think, most of the time I'm not present, but I will remember what my family is like. Sometimes they'll be speaking to me, asking things, this and that, and I'm just talking, but I'm not really present. But then later on at night, when I wake up in the night, I start remembering everything they asked me, or this and that.
Yeah.
The other day, I took my eldest daughter, who's 18, I took her out for some food, just me and her, thinking, she's growing up, let's go and spend some time. And I looked across the table at her, and I felt really happy, and I felt present in that moment. But that's only for a moment, then my brain's off again. Yeah. Yeah.
Justin, thank you for your honesty.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate.
No, thank you for your honesty. I can.
You're only going to get the truth if you speak to me. I don't care if I don't care if I stand up in front of prisoners, and sing Bar Bar Black Sheep, and they're all fucking in hysterics, because straight away they think, you know what, fucking this guy's, You know what I mean? And it lets them loosen up and fucking, you know what I mean? Because it's not a joke out here. Prison's not a joke. It's been to 53 prisons. I never thought I would go to, you know, from being where I was, I've been into my old prison cells. Do you know what I mean? Got friends across, prison governors across the country.
What's your ultimate goal right now? You've gone through a mad upbringing, craziness going on. You've come out of nick at 21 after the axe thing.
Yeah.
You hit 35. You hit 35 and you go, right, I need to work on my mind and work out what's going on. What's the ultimate goal for you right now? What's the thing that will make you bring you the most happiness and calmness as you get older? You're 41 today. Yeah.
41. Just, I don't know. So like, I'm happy the way my company's going. My message is spreading out there more. Giving my children a happier childhood, and they would have seen me. Just before that EMDR, I had a horrible mental breakdown. The OCD thing come back. I never thought it could come back. My middle daughter, 10 years old, she saw that, and then I started seeing her OCD behaviors.
Okay,
I got her EMDR therapy. So just to break the generational trauma, to break generational trauma, and I don't think I've done it, and it's fucking horrible, and it eats me up because, you know, you're a child and you're fucking innocent and you're beautiful and you deserve to be loved. But, you know, I'm very open and honest. Like my eldest daughter, I tell her, look, you'll need therapy, like when you're older. Do you remember this event? Like, I was like, be down the street while someone looking at me like, what the fuck in front? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's scary for a child. So break that generational trauma, company to do well, and to get my message of what I'm trying to like of childhood trauma, all the telltale signs, all the gang shit while you're there. You know what I mean? And then to help men in prison, which I'm doing.
Good for you.
And then to spread the message of hope. And I get messages all the time.
That's the beauty. We just nailed there. That's the beauty of message of hope.
Yeah.
Good for you. And the book out here, in and out there, go and check it out. The Lost Boys, BOYZ, The Dark Side of Graffiti, Justin Rollins, forward by Noel Razor Smith. I'd imagine this is going to be really raw.
Yeah, well, I wrote it when I was 24, undiagnosed PTSD and ADHD. So it's like listening to the mind of a 14-year-old. But there's a book that was written in 1930 by Clifford Shaw, a psychiatrist, and a juvenile delinquent in Chicago, called The Jack Roller. He's a kid, he's robbing people, and he's going into what you would call a young offenders. And Clifford Shaw, the psychiatrist, gives him a pen and paper, says, fucking tell me what's going on. It was the first time that behaviour was humanised nearly a century ago. And that has become a classic piece of text in sociology and criminology. Now, criminology lecturers, criminologists that I've worked with, academics, they say that The Lost Boys is the Jack Roller 100 years later. So,
Brilliant. Justin, I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Dodge.
Nice one for making the effort coming down.
Thanks for having me.
No, my pleasure, mate. My pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
Good man. Cheers.
Fucking hell, you put me under pressure, man. But it was good, though, because my mind's going, this ain't the same as the others. This is
cool.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like to see someone on the show, leave a comment below. And if you haven't already, do us a favour, show us a bit of love, press the subscribe button, and it allows us to grow the show even bigger and bigger each week. Nice one.